Right. Can you see me, Tom?
I see you.
Yes,
Let's
sir. Yes,
rock.
sir. So I'm Jamario Walker. Our presentation today is entitled Bitcoin, the Elephant in the Markets. Everybody's
Mm.
crypto. So let's just start talking about, what is Bitcoin? Let's start from the beginning. Digital currency created in 2009 follows the ideas of, mysterious Satoshi Nakamoto. What's strange is this guy may or may not be a real person. It may be a group of persons. Um, his identity is still largely a mystery. So we've got this amazing asset floating around in the markets, which is created by an unknown entity, for lack of a better word. But it's still, Bitcoin offers the promise of lower transaction fees and payment mechanisms. And unlike government issued cryptos, it is not operated by a decentralized authority. It is operated by a decentralized authority,
Right.
meaning no country, no business, no person owns all of Bitcoin.
Mm. That's
So
powerful.
some quick key points. Um, it is the largest crypto by market cap. Unlike fiat currencies, it is created, distributed, traded, and stored on a decentralized ledger system known as a blockchain. Before the advent of Bitcoin and all the cryptos, there was no mention of a blockchain. Um,
Mm.
no companies speaking of anything such as a blockchain or storing data in a method like the blockchain. This is totally out of left field, basically. Um, and this history of a store of value has been turbulent. I mean, we've all seen that. We've seen the excessive rises and the phenomenal falls of Bitcoin and some of the other cryptos. I mean, we can't deny that it's not a volatile asset. We see it every week. I mean, just this past week, you heard the information from Elon Musk investing in 1.6, Thomas?
Yeah,
1.9
1.5 or 1.5, 1.6, somewhere in there.
million dollars from his balance sheet into the crypto
Billion.
billion. Oh my God.
Billion. Yes, a billion.
That's a lot of money, y'all. A lot of money. After him, BNY Mellon talk about possibility of them doing the same thing. You heard MasterCard making a play or beginning to talk about, potentially doing something like that. So every week there's more and more companies talking about, how they can utilize Bitcoin and the blockchain to further their agenda or, just to increase their capabilities. So this is
I
something that's
believe,
not
yeah.
gonna it's not gonna go away anytime soon.
Yeah, I believe like Morgan Stanley is about to come up and they're looking at 150 million or billion.
Dang, it's a
Let me
lot of
look
money,
that up.
man.
Yes, incredible.
And once again, that's something where we don't know who the true creator of this thing was. We still don't know for sure who this guy is, if it's a group of other people. We don't know. But yet there's money piling into it every week.
150 billion. Morgan Stanley may bet on Bitcoin and $150 billion investment arm.
My God.
Bloomberg put that out. So this is serious.
Yeah.
So how do we get involved? How do we get involved? What's going on?
So
Break it
let's
down
let's
for us.
we're going to talk a little bit more about what it is and what it's built on top of. Because
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
blockchain technology that it runs on top of is kind of the secret sauce. It's what
Yep.
makes it so dynamic. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the blockchain is a specific type of database. Differs from a typical database in the way that it stores information. It stores it in actual blocks of data, and those blocks of data are chained together in chronological order. You can store different types of information in these little blocks. It doesn't have to be a particular type. Usually, for right now, for most uses right now, what they use it for is to store like transactions. You
Sure.
pay a person, they store that transaction in the block, or you can store information pertaining to shipments in these blocks. It's at its core, it's just a database at its core, storing data attached together in a chain format. And what's of note is this chain is immutable, which means the data entered is irreversible. Those transactions can't be deleted. They're permanently recorded in that blockchain that anybody can view. So this is data that you can't delete. You know, like Microsoft SQL, that's a database also format. Though that database can be deleted. That data can be taken out of that SQL database, deleted. You can copy and paste it. You can do a lot of things with that data. In a blockchain, you can't do that. So that right there separates blockchain technology, separates all those cryptos from anything else on the market. There's nothing else that operates in this capacity. That's part of the allure of the blockchain technology and those cryptos that are built on top of that.
And for a long time, I know from my perspective, I always thought blockchain was going to be the real gold mine of Bitcoin. Like I always thought Bitcoin was just going to falter, but in the end, the blockchain technology was going to be the thing that we all needed to figure out because of this persistence of the data, and the security that it provides. Although it does also give a lot of anonymity and make things difficult. It on one hand, but on the other hand, it also gives some security. So I thought that would be the gold mine, but apparently Bitcoin itself has now, I think, surpassed even the blockchain technology.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting technology, man. It's very interesting to me. The whole blockchain concept is pretty cool stuff, man. We'll go quickly over the mining aspect. All of the cryptos, they to actually mine and to get the crypto coins, you have to go through a process called mining. It's basically a lot of computers together, network together, that are trying to solve, increasingly hard cryptographic math problems, algorithms. When they solve these problems, they get rewarded with a block of newly mined coins, whatever the crypto they're mining. I've never known of anything else, working like this either, where you actually process to receive something from that processor, other than like, DNA sequencing, things like that. Maybe the closest correlations, but it's very, very cool, the whole mining aspect. For Bitcoin, the amount released per mining per block right now is, let's see here. Let's see, May 2020, each one of the blocks that you receive is 6 Bitcoin. What's strange is that amount, it halves every 4 years. And that's how they actually limit the amount of Bitcoin that you can ever mine. The limit is 21 million Bitcoin. That's the limit you can ever mine the Bitcoin. And right now we're at about 18. So we've got a little bit more to go. Yeah. We're at about 18 right now, and the max is 21. But the thing is, every 4 years, it halves how much you can mine and get per block. So 2020 and 2024 is going to go down to 3, meaning every 10 minutes you can only mine 3 Bitcoin. It's going to half again another 4 years after that. That's how they limit the amount that you can ever get. It's like built-in inflation almost to stop the amount that you can ever get of Bitcoin. So we have this is the top 10 coins by market cap. You see that the granddaddy Bitcoin at the top, 870 billion market cap. This was as of last week's prices from the crypto.com site. Ethereum number 2 with about 206. You've got Cardano 27. All these guys are the top 10 of all the cryptos. There's hundreds of them. These are the most 10, probably the most 10 important ones that you want to really focus on and see for a store of value purposes. Each one of these cryptos, they do a different sort of use case created by different companies running different code. It's very interesting stuff, man. And you can look at it almost like different companies. You got one for 46,000, Ethereum 1,800, Cardano 88 cents. So each one of these can be looked at as a company on a stock exchange.
What, from your perspective, what makes one more valuable than the other? Why is Bitcoin? Is it just first mover advantage, or what? From your perspective?
For my research, I think the cap on the amount that you can ever mine is what made Bitcoin the granddaddy of them all. That, and it
Gotcha.
was the
So,
first to market. It's the first one that really, came on the scene and really set the whole precedence. It set the whole
yeah,
framework for the rest of these guys to follow. The whole blockchain tech, it started all of that. I know some of these others don't have that same cap like Bitcoin does, so that limits their, their top
yeah,
line.
yeah. What about Ethereum? Does Ethereum have a cap?
Um, I'm not sure about Ethereum, and now there's like an Ethereum 2.0, which is a different version of Ethereum. So you really got to research each one to see what it does and its capabilities, because developers are always trying to upgrade the Bitcoin format. Well, the blockchain
Crypto.
format they each run out.
Gotcha.
They're actively developing new
Gotcha.
capabilities for them. And Ethereum actually is going to be more like it's going to function more like the internet, where you can create apps to run on top of it. So a lot of these others aren't allowing that. So it's more of a platform to develop applications that run on top of it. It's really interesting for Ethereum. But yeah, they all have different use cases, and it is hard to manage who's worth what, because you really got to know what it's doing, what's the use cases for that particular coin, and they all do something different. Size matters, and these figures are from last year from Market Watch. So last year, the market cap for Bitcoin was 255. I mean, we know now that it's 860, 870. But even still, it was almost above Walmart and Wells Fargo. So even rounding this up to 300 billion.
It was above Visa.
Oh my God. Can you believe that, man? These
Yeah, that's
are
crazy.
established companies, man. Some of the largest in the market.
Yeah.
And if we're lenient and just say all these guys are 300 billion, we already know Bitcoin is 800 billion already. Even giving these guys a little bit more leniency, and it still far outweighs anything in the market. It is definitely the elephant in the market.
Except for, I guess, Apple, right? Apple
At $1
is
trillion,
what, $1 trillion? Yeah.
we're approaching there.
But I mean, it did. If it has another week like it did this week, it'll be bigger than Apple. Yeah.
Consumer staples. These are some well-established companies that we all know about. McDonald's, what's that, 130 billion, Boeing, that 60, 70 billion, Pepsi, same thing. And here we got Bitcoin surpassing all of them. Verizon, wow. Toyota. So the story so far, Bitcoin was relatively flat from about 2014 to 2017, had a big jump to about 20,000 in 2018, but it had a major crash. What a lot of institutional investors were looking at was to see how it's going to perform after it made a drop before they put any money behind it. It recovered in 2019 to about halfway of this initial drop. And then it dropped again during 2020, the whole COVID, issue. But as you can see, it didn't drop as low as it did in 2019. That was
higher lows.
Sign. Yeah.
Higher lows. Yeah.
That was a positive sign for a lot of institutional investors, a lot of, big players. And that's when they jumped in after seeing that. And as you can, the rest is history. This is 20,000 last year, 1201. It was at about 20,000. Now we're sitting almost 50,000 now. So we're well above this now. It's been an amazing run for this amazing asset that's just changed the game completely, man. It's changed the game completely.
Wow.
So you may ask yourself, how do I start? I recommend you do your own research and, just start. There's a couple of platforms that allow you to easily buy and sell crypto coins. You got Binance, Coinbase, Robinhood is fairly easy to buy crypto. I don't recommend, Robinhood if you want to actually trade and, learn the ins and outs of trading. But as far as buying quick crypto, it's easy for that. It's useful for that, to quickly buy some coins and watch it grow. eToro, PayPal, and the Square Cash app, you can actually buy crypto from the Cash app. which is very.
So I have a question, Jamario. This brings up a question. If someone, let's say, if I want to buy a coin, I'm paying, at this point, $46,000. Am I not? Or what? Explain to us how that's worked.
So what you're
Because
essentially
I thought you could only mine coins. You can't purchase the coin.
So what you're doing is you're transferring your money into Bitcoin. That's what you're doing. Say you put $1,000
Gotcha.
into
Like
Bitcoin.
buying gold.
That's what you're doing. It's just it's like a currency exchange. You're exchanging your money for a percentage of Bitcoin.
Gotcha.
That's all you're doing.
So it's really just a wealth storage mechanism.
That's all it is, man.
When you're buying it from these platforms, it's just a way to store wealth.
That's all it is, and we've seen what it does. We've seen people got in here, sold here, got in here, sold here, got in here, sold here. It's a store of value that's going to keep rising. Of course, it's going to fall, but the general consensus for Bitcoin is going to rise.
Yeah.
And once there's not enough to go around, I mean, all we're going to do is just buy it and just trade what we have. There's going to come a time where you can't mine any more Bitcoin. It's going to all be controlled by someone where you can only just buy and sell it. That time will come. So in closing, Bitcoin is the beginning of something great, a currency without a government, something necessary and imperative. This is from Nassim Taleb, an author and risk analyst. I mean, do not be afraid of it. Just do your research. Stay abreast of developments. Financial regulations can hinder some of its growth and hinder what you can and cannot do with crypto. So just be knowledgeable of that. Things may happen in the future to limit what we can do with it. I mean, that is a possibility. I would not lie to you. That is a possibility. And I just saw a report this week, man, where the U.S. government is going to crack down on these guys investing in it, taking their money out of the U.S. dollar into Bitcoin, because they don't want to see the U.S. dollar lose its status as a reserve currency.
Mm-hmm.
As more money piles into this, you may see a little push and tug, with the federal government and, crypto holders. So you got to stay abreast of developments, educate yourself on the ins and outs of what the government is saying about this and also what the investors are saying. You got to do your research.
Go ahead. This is a good one. Key two, I guess, is invest for the long term to build wealth. That's good.
That's what you want to do. Look at this as a store of value for the future, not for something to, it's not a penny trade. You can trade the smaller cryptos, but not Ethereum and Bitcoin. Those are the ones you want to use for stores of value to build your wealth, because there will be a time where you can't mine Bitcoin. You can only buy from somebody that's already got it. You got companies like Square trying to buy all of the new mined Bitcoin. These guys are fighting to get what's mined daily. They're fighting to buy it because they see this coming also. I mean, they see the writing on the wall also, and they want to try to get ahead of that. So it's up to us to research and get ourselves in there also. We can't be left out, because they're buying.
Give me a strategy, Jamario, right? I see a logo here, Tech Trader. Give me a strategy for how tomorrow morning the market will open. We were joking earlier before we got started about how bored we are when the market's closed, right? Like, we don't know what to do with ourselves. Tomorrow morning, the market's going to be open. Tell me what I should do tomorrow to get into Bitcoin. Give me a game plan.
For Bitcoin, the price is so expensive right now. You just got to jump into it. You just got to put some money into it. Once you get some in it, then you can once the price goes down a little bit, you can add a little bit more to dollar cost average. But you just got to get into Bitcoin. What I'm doing is I'm using the smaller coins to double my money and put that into Bitcoin. Like I am playing the Dogecoin.
Gotcha.
And I've actually doubled my money in Dogecoin about maybe 2 weeks ago, and I put that into Bitcoin. But now I've taken it out of Bitcoin back into Doge to double it again. So I'm doing that a little bit to just
give us a game. What platform are you using?
I'm using Robinhood for that because it's quick and easy just to buy crypto in there. It's quick just to
Gotcha.
do it in there.
Gotcha. Okay.
I mean, and the chart patterns are the same as anything else. You know, it's the same, goes through the same motion. It adheres to the same moving averages.
Can
It
we go
follows.
over the tickers? Did you give us the tickers for those?
Yeah, they are.
Let's go over these tickers. I want to make sure. BTC.
So these are just the top 10 by market cap. The smaller ones you want
Sure.
to trade are all lower than this. Like
Sure.
Dogecoin is very small. XRP is a very common. People trade this one a lot. XRP. There's also one called OMG that people trade a lot. It's not one of the top 10, but it's heavily traded. OMG.
Okay.
It functions kind of like Ethereum, where it's like a platform to build apps on top of it. Stellar Lumens is backed by IBM, so they really push this one a lot to their customers. It's just a matter of just finding one that's in your price range that you want to try to trade with, as far as these smaller guys. But you
What
want
about
to.
Cardano? Cardano's 88 cents. I know somebody's gonna look at that and say, "Hey, here's something I can get into."
Hey, what you want to do is just take a look at it. Let's go to its chart right quick. See, here we go. It'll be the same situation. You just want to wait till there's a easier price to get in at.
So it's, what is this? 88 USD.
And all it's doing is just comparing its price against the US dollar, which they're all weighed against. But all you do on your platform is just buy it for whatever price is being sold at, at that time.
So you use this chart to determine where to buy.
That's what I do, man. When I see it in my, let's see here, like Dogecoin is dropping again right now. So maybe a week be a good time to pick up on some Dogecoin and try to double your money on that. A lot of people are doing.
So you, because I've been hearing about a Dogecoin, right? So, but let's say I want to get into Dogecoin, right? You're using your chart here, same chart as you would if you were looking at IBM, right? For the sake of this discussion, right? So you look at your chart, you find DOGE right? And you look at your charts and do the same type of analysis you would normally do. And then you go on the market and you try to buy that once you feel like it's going to make another move to the upside.
Once it's in a suitable price range, you can jump on that joker, man.
That's good. And you say you've been flipping your money in this, because what is it now? What is it now? What was Doge? I haven't looked at it.
It's about 6 cents. Its high was 8 cents. So they're pushing for it to get to 10 cents here pretty soon. And we got Bitcoin sitting at 47. It was almost at 50. So we can see it's losing a little bit of steam here. It's probably going to retreat a little bit. But we'll watch it.
I don't know. With this Morgan Stanley news came out, when they hit the market tomorrow, who knows? It might hit 50 tomorrow.
Yeah, it's hard to gauge it, man, but it moves the same as any other asset, though. You can track it.
Look at this. Yep. And it's clearly sideways trending. Clearly. So this is great. This has been, I think.
Which one you think you kind of like, based on what you've heard so far? What kind of piques your interest as far as a digital currency?
I mean, you have to say Bitcoin, obviously, right? I mean, you don't see anybody, Morgan Stanley talking about buying Dogecoin or whatever. So the only ones that I hear people talk about in any real way is Bitcoin and Ethereum. So I couldn't really imagine investing for the long term in anything besides those two. But in regards to taking a little bit of bread to the side and flipping it into flipping it using Dogecoin, I think, or any other of these smaller ones, I think maybe there's room to do that. Like I saw, the XRP.
Yeah, XRP is a great target, but OMG, let's see. Look at that move it did last week. $6 all the way to $7.69. Wonder what happened last week. He did a pretty good move, but that's a bare 180 right there, though.
Yeah, that's terrible.
I wonder what happened. I mean, that's why I say you got to research the crypto markets, know what's going on. This may take a little bit more research than your traditional company, because this is such a new field. These are new assets, and they're constantly changing. Like the developers for Dogecoin are just now talking about, it started as a joke, and now it's kind of like real for those guys, and they're trying to build capabilities into their platform. So there's a lot happening behind the scenes of all these companies. I mean, they're companies. Companies push and create these coins. They're not just an arbitrary coin. It's a coin that a company created. A team of developers functioning of the company created, and now they're offering that to the people. Kind of like an IPO process, where you come public, you offer your shares to the public.
I remember they were having a lot of like crypto IPOs a year or so, a couple of years ago. I forget what they were calling it. Okay, so now it's making a lot more sense how all these IPO, was it an ICO? I think they were calling it ICO, initial coin offerings, or something like that.
You're right.
Yeah. So, what makes OMG, if you can give us that information, what makes OMG so popular?
I don't know a whole lot about that. I just know it's
besides it's a great ticker. OMG. I think it's a great ticker.
Actually, OMG Networks. It's basically a networking platform to create apps on top of that. I really think this is gonna become a second internet in a sense. What I want to see
when you say internet, do you mean the blockchain itself, or do you mean the coin? And in what way do you mean the second internet? In terms of just a boom
because they're all separate networks. And each one of them is like a separate blockchain network that you can tap into and utilize. And you've got these miners on that separate network mining and verifying transactions on that network. So it is a conglomerate of networks. Each one of these coins is its separate network. It's separate, internet, for lack of a better word.
Got you.
But what I want to see happen though, man, instead of like investing in coins, I want to see people invest in like research or some sort of a cryptocurrency / research initiative, where the coin is actually you're putting money into the research for cancer or something. That's what I want to see, man, or like DNA sequencing. Instead of putting your money into a coin, put it into that initiative for that development of that cancer cure, something like that.
That's interesting because that's really, really interesting.
Because what you're paying for is processing power to a certain extent.
For sure. I mean, and you need a ton of it.
A ton of energy.
The thing that comes to mind, the question that comes to mind when you say, like investing in research, is like, how could this technology and what does this opportunity mean for Black Americans? And how could we leverage this, right, to improve our stance, right? You talk about being locked out of the economy. We know all the things, redlining. We know, obviously, the transatlantic human trafficking expedition, right? Like, we know all the things and that happened, and we know all the things that are happening, for the most part. Is this an opportunity for reparations? Is this an opportunity for us to join in and say, you know what, this is I mean, it kind of isn't, because we've already built the system up to the point where now Morgan Stanley, on the backs of us, can invest $150 billion, right?
Yeah.
So I guess, I'm answering my own question, but, this is a wealth creation opportunity as well as a wealth storage opportunity. I mean, you're using one coin to give you opportunity to store wealth in another coin.
Yeah.
So, what ways do you see we can take advantage of that?
I mean, I definitely see Bitcoin as a store of value to build your wealth. Because the thing is, we don't have anything to gauge its performance by. I mean, you would say gold may be the closest commodity, but not really. And what we've seen is when a digital version of something comes out, it surpasses that analog version. You got
Typical.
8 tracks, you had,
Sure.
CDs, and now you got the digital downloads that have surpassed CDs. When a digital version comes out, you got the cell phone, the analog phone. This is the digital version of currency, and also, gold or commodities. So you can't really gauge its price. Plus, you're gauging its price on a dying asset, the US dollar. So it's, I don't know how you would value it, man. I don't know. That's the problem now. People don't know how to value it. And you can't really use it to buy something. It's not really is the best used to buy something, to buy pizza or buy anything like
I just can't imagine taking something that is worth $43,000 and taking a piece of that and buying a Tesla, or, I mean, I just don't. That's the thing that I can't wrap my brain around, the consumer utilization of Bitcoin. That part I can't wrap my brain around.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question, man. A lot of people are trying to answer that. I can tell you that. A lot of people are trying to answer that question, and yet they're still pumping millions into it every week.
Pumping millions into it, I get, as a storage of value. Trying to take money out.
It's a good question,
It's
Thomas. Good question, man.
Very curious.
It makes you
okay.
think.
Makes you think. I don't know. Yeah.
I mean,
good.
You're thinking about it, but you do want to be involved. You don't want to be left out if this is our chance to, to strike gold, so to speak.
Sure. Digital gold.
To start building wealth for our families, because it's going to come a time where you can't mine anymore. That time's coming.
Sure.